Hey everybody, we are back. It is spooky season and we are here with Crackle TV's Chris Woolsey. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is amazing. So great to be back.
I know, I just love having conversation with you. It's so much fun and I always learn something new and there's always something new to watch. Speaking of course, my TV is not being nice to me right now, but we were talking last time about the A Life in 10 Pictures.
Yes.
And I saw that there's one with John Lennon, and I was like, I have to watch that. And then, of course, it's just like spinning, and I was like, no, I need to watch this
Oh, no.
because that was one of the ones that you had recommended to all of us.
Yes.
And
It
honestly,
is it's an incredible series. Like every one of those episodes, and just for your fans who may not know, it's a documentary series from the BBC, and they tell the story of a iconic celebrity through the 10 most iconic pictures of them ever taken. And then you get to see those pictures taken or explained by people who were there when the photo was taken. So it's a very special and very specific documentary series. And we've done Muhammad Ali. They did Elizabeth Taylor. You mentioned this month we have John Lennon, and they are spectacular. And we have one coming next month that I think you're really going to like, but no spoilers because I'm not that guy. But um, you're going to be very excited because I've never seen a documentary about this particular person, and I was fascinated by them. And I won't even use a pronoun because I don't want you to know who this is. But it's
oh,
great. I love it. But this month, John Lennon is amazing, and some of the photo I felt like I'm a pretty big Beatles fan, and some of the photos I had never seen before. It's a great series, and this month's episode on John Lennon is definitely one you don't want to miss.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So, TV, Fire TV, you better let me watch it because I need to. I love that. I'm a huge fan of the Beatles. I mean, huge. That's how I would fall asleep at night was listening to them.
Have
And,
you seen the movie Yesterday?
huh?
Have you seen the movie Yesterday?
Mhm.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. I hope we're getting that on Crackle soon. It is.
Did you
I could watch it once a month and not be sick of it. I just love that movie.
wait? Did you say you're getting it on Crackle?
No, I said I hope we get that on
Oh,
Crackle. I've got to talk to our head of programming to get that movie.
that would be amazing because I think everybody needs to see it. But
I
I'm not
know.
just saying that because
Beautiful film.
Beatles. I mean, I know people who don't. I'm like, I can't be friends with you. I can't. I just
It's
can't. If you can't
it
enjoy
could be a
this,
deal breaker. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a total deal breaker.
Yeah.
Well, since it is spooky season, I wore my little witchy hat because I knew we were going to
Love
talk
it.
about a lot of fun stuff. So, what have you got in store for us?
Oh my gosh. We are going to pack your trick or treat bag so full you're not even going to know what to do with yourself. So many creepy sweets. So we've talked before that one of the things that sets Crackle apart from the rest of the streaming industry is the fact that we have original content every month. So we have films and TV series that you can only watch on Crackle, and those are our originals, just like a lot of the other streaming platforms. But most of the advertising video on demand platforms don't have originals, but we do. So one of our very favorites of the last year is called The Wall. And this is a super taut thriller. Season one took place in a little town just south of the Arctic Circle. And it's so cold that they have to build this gigantic wall around the town to keep the elements from destroying everything. And while it does protect the town, it also protects a murderer who's living in the town. And
Ooh.
there's a detective that comes in, and she has to solve this murder spree that's going on in the town. And that's season one. It's available. You can binge the whole thing on Crackle. It's an amazing series. It's French with English subtitles. And I have to tell you, it's one of those series about 6 or 8 times a year, we'll get something on Crackle. And I'm like, how did we get this? Like, why is this not on Netflix or Amazon Prime? Like, this is so amazing. And this is one of those where this one somehow slipped under the radar because everything about it is top notch. The writing, the production value, the performances, it is really good. Well, season one, super taut. Season two they take that tension and they crank it up to 11.
Oh,
There is the trailer's online, and the whole season is dropped, so you can binge it when you're done with season 1. But there is a moment in the first episode of season 2 that maybe is one of the most terrifying jump scares I've ever seen in my life. It is the trailer is brilliant for season 2, but the episode and the reveal of the beginning of this next spree is unbelievable. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
no, that's good, because it's funny you mentioned that. That was actually something that was like on Spotlight. Like, I'm actually looking at it right now because I wanted to keep notes of what you guys had. And I was like, this looks really interesting. And I love scary movies, but I it's not that I don't like blood and gory stuff. I just don't find it scary. I'm just like, oh, okay,
Right.
you did that. Okay.
Yep.
But when it's stuff like, God, like Poltergeist and things like that, those types of, like, just the tension alone, or you're thinking you're seeing something, it's just messing with your mind. Like, those are
Yeah,
the
and
types of
that
things.
this series has a lot of that, where you think you're looking at one thing and then the camera pans down and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I? That's not at all what I thought it was. Like, there's another moment in the trailer after the first horrifying scare, when that'll happen and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, it's great. You're gonna love
I
it.
love those. I love those so much. Although my friends don't really like watching scary movies with me because I don't really jump scare.
Mm.
There've been a couple times where, like, we're playing Resident Evil and I have all my lights off and stuff, and then of course, the game. I don't know if you've ever seen any gameplay or have played that at all, but
Oh yeah,
the
I played.
Resident Evil games are just ridiculous. Like, there will be some crazy ass thing that comes out and you're like, ah. So when I play with my friend, like, she jump scares, like, and she's actually a haunt actor at Not Scary Farm.
Oh, fun! That's hilarious, and yet she's terrified. That's
She's the one that always gets like,
yeah.
it's so
Yeah.
funny.
I'm the
But I
same
mean,
way. I jump scare like crazy. And my wife, I think she had her entire nervous system removed at birth because you can't scare her to save her life. But
I
yeah,
think that's, yeah.
I will I will jump for sure.
Well, I'm actually looking really forward to watching that because, like I said, it came up. I'm like, all right, we got to check this out. But like I said, there's so many different things. Like, and I love the way that the app is set up because you have your Spotlight, then you have, I think it was the casual, was it casual TV or so, and
Yep.
popular TV.
Cozy, cozy
So
TV or something. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so you guys have it really cleaned up to where it's easy to find things. So if you're in the mood for just action, you have a whole thing on action,
Yep.
comedy, whole thing of comedy. So it's really, but then you also have these things where I'm like, I've never heard of this before. So let's just check it out. So
Yep.
it's a really easy app to maneuver through and kind of find new things or just binge what you've already watched. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's really, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, our product team works really hard on making discoverability as easy as possible, because I think we've all suffered from scroll fatigue where you go on Netflix or whatever and you're just like endlessly just going through. So we like try to look at what you've watched in the past and just things that we think you might like and pop those in there. And then we also, as you bring up, we have these kind of themed trays that we build every month, that whether it's seasonal or genre or whatever or timely, with the Queen's passing, we have a Royals tray, and Halloween we've got your horror trays. And so yeah, we try and make it as painless as possible to find your next binge worthy obsession. So yeah.
Well, we appreciate it because it definitely makes it very easy. Oh my gosh, I just saw you guys have Bye Bye Birdie.
We do that. We do.
I was in that in high school, so it's oh, that brings back memories. Um,
Yep.
I love it so much.
I saw Tommy Tune perform that in college. Yeah, it
Oh,
was a great
it's a great musical. It really is. I feel like everybody needs to try at least one musical in their lives, and that one
Oh
was
yeah.
a lot of fun. So what else do we have besides the wall?
So, being Halloween, we of course stack the deck with all the spooky favorites we can. And so I'll start with the oldest school, and then we'll kind of move forward from there. But so we have the 1958 classic, The Blob,
Oh yeah.
the original. So it's so great. And I don't know if you remember that I hadn't watched it since I was a kid. When I was a kid, I grew up in Orange County, and KTLA used to do a monster marathon every Halloween. And I remember this was one of them at one point. And so I saw it when I was like 8 years old. And then I don't think I had seen the original until we got it on Crackle. And I didn't remember that Steve McQueen is the lead in the original Blob.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, so
okay, yeah. So you got to go back and watch it. He's billed as, it was the last time he was ever billed as Stephen McQueen, but it is Steve McQueen. It was his first leading role. It was not his first movie, but it was the first time he was the main protagonist, and it's amazing. So you know me, I'm a film nerd. I always go and do all kinds of research. So I was doing research on this. It's hilarious. He had such little faith in the film that they offered him $2,500 or 10% of the entire box office to play the role. And he had such little faith in it that he took the easy money of $2,500. It went on to gross $4 million in 1958 dollars.
What?
And so he lost out
a lot of money.
Fortune. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he lost out on millions. Relatively speaking, millions of dollars.
Oh, wow. Talk about kicking yourself in the tush on that one. Gee.
Totally. And he plays a high schooler in the movie, and he was 28 years old when he filmed it, which is also, I find, very funny.
You know, it's funny you mention that, because they still do that a lot, and they find people who look young. But I don't even remember what I was watching. And I'm like, I swear this dude is 30 years old and he was playing a senior. And I'm like, you got too many lines on the eyes, buddy. Like, we didn't have this when we were 18. So.
Yeah. I forget which one it is. There's a Mystery Science Theater movie where it's about a bunch of kids at medical school, and they've got to be in their mid 50s. And they're playing like they're in their early 20s. Oh my gosh. At one point, one of the Mystery Science Theater people was like, I think most of these people have had hip replacements. They're so old.
Oh my God, I love that show. They always pointed out the like just most random things, and the jokes were always good. But yeah, they've gotten better.
Yeah.
But still, it's like, come on, guys. I know you want to not pick high schoolers, play high schoolers just because of, I get it, legal reasons over 18, but still don't pick 40-year-olds to not 21 Jump Street.
But bringing up, we have 21 Jump Street on Crackle, and we also have Mystery Science Theater on Crackle. So
yes.
Yeah, you can watch both.
So great. Oh my gosh. Yeah, because I thought I remembered a few years back they said they were bringing back Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, they did. They brought it back, and then they're bringing it back again. So it's like, I think it's in its 5th iteration right now.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah. I've had these weird like Forrest Gump interactions with that brand. Mike Nelson was a friend of a friend, the head writer, and he played the host of the show for years. And I wrote a book that came out like 15 years ago, and at the time we didn't have anyone to write the foreword, and my friend gave him a copy, the rough copy of the book, and he liked it so much that he said he would write the foreword for free, which he did. Never asked for a dime. Cool. I know, he was the nicest guy ever. And then when they relaunched it to Netflix, I met the Bob Emmers over at Shout Factory, who's like the nicest guy in Hollywood. And we had a meeting, and he just told me about how excited, how geeked out he was to be helping to relaunch the series. So
that's super cool.
I'm a big fan, I must say.
I would take it that you are, especially with all of that.
Yep. But back to the Blob. The other interesting, so one funny note to watch for when you're watching it. At one point, so Steve McQueen's character does not smoke in the movie, but at one point, if you look carefully, Steve McQueen there's a still shot of him standing there, and there's smoke coming up from behind his head, because he's he was chain smoking the entire time they were filming the movie. And so at one point they're filming, but he's got his cigarette behind his back. And you can just see the smoke coming up from behind. So for that. And then the other funny thing is that so Union Carbide, the infamous / famous chemical company, made the blob that was the blob out of silicone and a bunch of other chemicals that are probably banned in most countries now. And they delivered it in 1958 to the set in a 5-gallon jerry can. And they opened it up and dumped it out. And that was the blob that they used during the filming. Well, it is 65 years later. The blob has not dried. It's still just as wet and squishy as it was in 1958. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that ain't normal. So
what did they do with it? Is it just sitting in a container? Like, is it?
Good question. It is in a museum in the Midwest. I can't remember where exactly it is, but there's some sort of film museum, and they've got it sitting in a big bowl, and it's still as wet as it was the day that the cameras rolled. So
That's slightly concerning to me. I feel like, are we sure it's not actually alive? Does it move?
Right? I keep thinking of that scene Alien, where the alien blood like burns through like 8 levels of the ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. But anyway, little interesting tidbit there. Like all good movie monsters, it refuses to die. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it hasn't, but now I'm gonna have to go find where it is. I'm very curious. I just want to see a picture of it because it's just strange to me that it's still alive. Like, that's
I smell a road trip coming. That's what I smell. Yeah.
There could be. I mean, I'm always up for one. Well, I'm glad that's on. Another thing to watch. I swear, you guys just don't want me to get off my butt. Like, you just want me to sit in front of the TV all day. But I forgot to tell you, I did actually start watching stuff while I'm on the treadmill at the gym.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Perfect.
I should say it's the elliptical, because at least then I've got my hands on something so I don't fall while I'm watching, because, no one should get hurt. Don't do silly things while you're working out. I've seen too many bad things.
Oh my gosh.
So many bad things. All right. So we've got the Blob. So we've got Old School.
Another old school. And this is another one that I did not remember that this was the lead actor, but 1978, there's a movie called Magic. And it's about a world famous ventriloquist. Apparently that could happen in the 70s. And he has a nervous breakdown and moves back to his hometown to kind of recuperate. And while he's there, he rekindles this love that he had when he was originally in that town. And the movie is Anthony Hopkins plays the ventriloquist.
What?
Burgess Meredith is his manager, and Anne Margaret is his love interest. What? Did anybody know that any of those 3 people ever did a horror movie?
I didn't.
No, nor did I.
What?
Yeah, crazy.
This is very strange to me. Like, the last thing I watched with a ventriloquist in it was Soap. By the way, do you know how excited I was when I found you guys had that? I used to watch it with my mom.
We've got Soap. We've got everything. We've got it all.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I never not watch it, because there's so much to watch.
Yeah, totally.
I would never have imagined.
No, but it's funny though that it's a movie about a ventriloquist dummy that is a horror film, because I'm like, any movie with a ventriloquist in it is automatically a horror film. Like, I don't care if it's a rom-com. If you have a ventriloquist dummy in a movie, it is automatically a horror film.
Yeah, because it always looks, they really are. Did Twilight Zone do an episode?
They did, and this is very similar in tone to that episode. That was one of the scariest episodes ever, when it's laying flat on the couch and then the camera comes around and it's sitting up with its arm on the couch. Man,
that terrified. That messed with me as a child, I'll tell you that.
That was one of my favorite episodes. So good.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
So that's a great one. You got to check out Magic. It's a forgotten gem. But moving forward, we've got some 80s classics. So we've got Prom Night with Jamie Lee Curtis, the queen of Scream herself. And that one is obviously fantastic. So this was I believe this was her third horror film in a year. So she came from nowhere. She did Halloween, which was obviously a gigantic. I think at one point it was the highest grossing independent film of all time. I'm not sure if that still stands, but it was at one point. So became a huge name like out of the gate. Then she did John Carpenter's The Fog, which was also a pretty big deal, and that was 6 months later. And then she did Prom Night. And so that just kind of solidified this horror trifecta. Within a year, she, became the queen of scream. So
she's amazing.
She is amazing.
She's really is
ridiculously talented. Knives Out, she's unbelievable. Everything she does is
yeah.
My
opinion, I love her. Like, and I think that you just get to see with her work how broad her acting skills really are. Like, I mean, she could do everything.
I know.
Everything. Totally. And she's funny to boot, because I've seen her on the red carpet. Like, you just watch, she is funny, quick-witted.
Very funny. Yeah, she's sharp as a tack.
Yep. Well, that's exciting.
What's that?
I said that's exciting. I love that movie. It's a great one. I've seen it. Yeah.
It's a great one. But one that a lot of people forget that is in that same 80s schlock vein that is really great is Happy Birthday to Me. I don't know if you remember that one, but that is starring Melissa Sue Anderson, who is Mary Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie.
What?
Did you know that Mary Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie did a horror film?
No.
Right. That's kind of the theme with this selection this month. Like,
mind blown.
Crazy. I remember it as a kid. I watched it. We didn't have cable, but we had On TV, which was like a proto cable, because I lived in a neighborhood that didn't have cable. And I remember watching this movie, and it's about 10 kids that are like the popular kids in high school, and they get together for a birthday party one night and a sleepover, and someone is picking them off one at a time. And it's really good. And some of the murders in the film are like, they'll stick in your head for a little while. It was pretty awful.
I'm baffled. Like, I mean, obviously I knew she had to have done other things, but I did not know that. I was like, oh, look at this.
I didn't either till I started looking into it again. All these things I forgot about it. Yeah.
All right. Really good. That's another one for the list.
To bring us up to the modern era, and one of my personal favorite horror films of any era is Train to Busan. I don't know if you've seen it. South Korean zombie film. It is unbelievably great. So it's like Snakes on a Plane, but no Sam Jackson and tons of zombies. So it's a bunch of people. It's we have the subtitled version, which is always the only version to watch. Right. And it's a bunch of people on a train ride to this city, Busan. And while they're on the train, there's a zombie outbreak, not only in the surrounding countryside, but also you find out on the train itself. And everything about this movie is almost perfect. The writing is spectacular. The performances are spectacular. The character arcs are amazing. The zombies are the only good kind of zombies. They're fast zombies, which are always, as everyone can agree, are the scariest zombies. And it's top shelf from beginning to end. So Train to Busan, you've got to check it out. It is fabulous.
I will definitely do that. I have actually been watching K-dramas for a while, and I don't feel like Korean movies and television really get enough credit. I will have to say that the back and forth in K-dramas where you get the guy looking at the girl and then the girl looking back at the guy and it's like, okay, that's a little bit, it's like, come on guys, all right, we 15 minutes of this, we get it, it's the end credits, let's roll them. But the writing is really good and the acting is amazing as well. And so like I have a lot of friends and I'm like, just because you don't understand it, just read the subtitles, you will enjoy it. Like I promise you.
Some of the best filmmaking in the world is going on in South Korea right now. They're
so good. So I will definitely watch that for sure.
Awesome. Well, this is just a little smattering, but we have dozens and dozens of your favorite Halloween spooky treats. So be sure to pop into Crackle and check it out. Maybe do a watch party on Halloween. We've got a mess of great stuff on there. So check it out. And thanks again for having me on. This was amazing.
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, like I said, I always love talking to you. You always come with a plethora of just fantastic things to watch. I'm surprised that I can still see at this point because my eyes are always glued to the television. My mom always said, don't watch so much TV. What's
Right.
happening? Nope, sorry, can't follow that
Yep.
direction.
I told my mom the other day, I said, you know, when I was a kid, you told me no one's going to pay you to watch TV. And you were wrong, Mom.
Like, I told you. I
Exactly.
told you. Well, this was an absolute pleasure as always. And then we'll just go ahead and share this, let everybody know that Crackle is the thing to watch, the thing to do. Again, I absolutely love it. And it's always a pleasure chatting with you. And thank you so much for giving us all of this wonderful information.
You bet. And remember, Crackle's always free, and you can get it at any of your app stores on your phone, your tablet, on your laptop at crackle.com. You can download the Crackle app on your connected TV from your favorite app store. So we're pretty much everywhere. So check it out.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much again, Chris. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks much. I'll swing by next month and we'll talk holiday films.
All right. Can't wait. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.